This is a Panasonic D1232 Pabx, and the issue with this is that the power, it doesn't come on because the power, I think, was blown due to electricity issue. So today I'll show you how to fix it. I'm going to open it up now and then I'll show you how to fix it. This uses around 3 cards. So 3 Amphenol cables are connected to this particular device. You can see this is how the inside of the device looks like. So I've been able to disconnect some of the cables, and then I'm going to take out the screws on this end. You have to be very careful when dealing with this particular Pabx. And then I've taken out all the screws on this end. You can see I'm just pointing out the directions that I've taken screws out from, and then you can see this was clipped in there before, but I've removed it. So I've slowly removed this front cover. Now when you remove this front cover, it's going to expose the logic board and the power supply. Right now the power supply of this particular device has blown. Several capacitors on it has blown, okay, and the fuse has blown too. And so what I'm going to do right now is, in case you don't have a replacement for this particular power supply, you can actually repair. It can be repaired. So this one now, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to repair this particular power supply. So we have several screws attached to different parts of this power supply, and you have to be very careful to detach all the cables attached to this particular power supply. Make sure none of the cables was cut in any way. Remove all the screws gently, and then gently disconnect the power supply from the board. Remember, all the cables, you have around 3 to 4 cables attached to this particular power supply. I'm going to gently remove all the cables also, but to be able to get access to it, I have to remove all the screws. You can see all these areas. I have to remove all the screws attached to these areas right now. So this is one of the cables I was telling you about. You can see it is disconnected. Make sure all of them are disconnected, and be careful not to cut any of them. Because if you have to cut any of them by mistake, the cables are short. So joining it back again will become an issue, except you have another cable of the same type that you can use to augment the length. So I think the power supply is coming up, but I think there's 1 or 2 screws I still need to remove on this end. So I'm going to take out the screws on this end. And remember, this is a Pabx Panasonic D1232 Pabx system, and this uses around 3 cards which I've disconnected, and then this is the power supply which I'm going to remove right now. And you have to be as careful as possible when removing this particular power supply in order not to affect the logic board in any way. The logic board is very, very expensive. That is, if you're lucky to even see it out there, it's very, very expensive. You have to be very careful. You can see the fuse, they're all swollen, and the capacitors are all swollen rather, and the fuse is burnt. So right now this particular power supply is not available right here in this part of the country, easily available right now, except I got it from another used Pabx system of the same type now. So what I'm going to do to this one, since it's not readily available for replacement, I'm going to repair this one. So what I'm going to do is to replace the fuse and the capacitors, and then change 1 or 2 components on this particular power supply, and it is going to work again. And then for the replacement of this power supply, this is another power supply that I'm using right now. You can see it has been repaired. So this is the new one that has been repaired right now. I've changed a whole lot of the component on this particular power supply, and then I'm going to replace it back inside. All the cables, you have to be very carefully replace all the cables one by one. Note where the cables are from and carefully replace them one by one, and you have to be very careful when replacing all these cables. You have to be very careful when replacing the cables. So it is in now. I'm trying to ascertain if there's any cables that is left, that is omitted, that I still need to add to it. That is what I'm trying to ascertain right now. Okay, and then I'll get all the screws. Going to add the screws to it. And if you have any questions regarding this particular Pabx, you can just hit me up in the comment section, and I will do everything as much as possible to respond to you on time. Okay, this is basically 3 cards, which means we have 3 Amphenol cables plugged into this Pabx system. Okay, and then okay, so right now I'm trying to rectify something down here. I'm getting all the screws out. The screws, while I remove all the screws, I kept them in a particular place, so that I don't misplace the screws. So that is what I'm trying to get right now. I want to make sure I get all the screws out. Okay, I think I've gotten some of the screws, so all this is going in right now, and then I want to make sure I plug all the cables. So I've been able to plug all the cables right now, and then I'm going to power it on right now. And I would like you to subscribe to my channel and hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you some other time. Thank you.